Am I in the center of the frame? I don't know, because my viewfinder is lagging. Gamers, this is going to be a really hot take, but video games today? Ugh, yeesh, too easy. Yeah, when you come home from 8 hours of getting your ass chewed out by your boss or a bunch of customers, the last thing you want to do is turn on your PlayStation and get destroyed by some NPC. I get it, but I just replayed Mario Sunshine and I couldn't believe that they made a kid's game this difficult, dude. I can't even begin to understand how 8-year-old me tolerated, let alone beat this game. One of my all-time favorites as a child was Castlevania 1 on NES. I'm too scared to touch that game. I was also reminded, however, of how much more rewarding it was to play these games. Did I die to some crazy fucking glitch that shouldn't have happened? Yeah. End of statement, it happened a lot. But you know what? I felt on top of the world when I persevered and I earned that shine sprite. What if I could recreate this kind of reward in a game that was baby easy? Well, okay, technically, this game is baby easy. They must have had some jacked babies at Nintendo or some shit. What I mean is the game's so easy, I literally zone out whenever I play it. Hot take number 2. That game is Halo. I'm not saying Halo is bad. I absolutely love the lore. I'm addicted to Halo Reach multiplayer, and I too want to fuck the Arbiter. Halo has politics and world building that rivals fucking Star Wars, all right? This game has so much depth to its narrative, and later on I find out the gameplay does too. But most bros I talk to who love Halo seem to not know any of this. I've talked to Halo fans who don't understand why the ODSTs don't have shields or carry the big Magnum. It's because they're not Spartans, bro. They're the beta males of the Halo universe. These guys are the human version of the grunt. If I had to make an educated guess, it's because these games are way too easy. You could shut your brain off and brute force an entire Halo campaign and die maybe like a few times. Which means when a cutscene happens or some important dialogue occurs, your brain is off. One Sunday, I booted up my stream to change that. I'm going to actually play a Halo campaign, and I'm going to utilize the features that I have neglected for so long. I'm going to increase the difficulty, and I'm going to turn on just a few skulls. I'm not jumping from normal to mythic. Calm the fuck down, okay? I wanted to dip my foot in the water and see how it feels, but by playing the game on heroic and turning on the 2 skulls, I had the perfect balance by complete accident. It wasn't impossible, but it changed Halo forever. I feel like I'm in Vietnam. What the fuck? The black eye skull made it so I had to melee an enemy to regenerate my shields. For those who don't know, shields are a form of health that comes back so long as you aren't taking damage. All Spartans have it, and it's a way for the developers to make you feel like RoboCop. Usually when I play, I just walk into the middle of the battlefield and shoot everything in sight and then hide behind something every once in a while. Turning that shield from a guarantee to a reward completely changed how I moved around in the game. I actually used cover for once. Jokes aside, this kicked my brain into overdrive. I had to find a piece of cover in the field that would allow me to kill them before they could kill me. The famine skull was one where every gun I found had only half its ammo. This turned the strategy into overdrive. The Halo games give you plenty of ammo, so much to where you never really run out. You can just use your favorite weapon without limits. Again, it's supposed to make you feel like RoboCop, but going in, knowing that I would eventually have to throw away my DMR meant that the pressure was on every headshot. It also meant I had to utilize weapons that I would never pick up. I never used Covenant weapons until now. It turns out they're really good at taking out shields, so you can switch to your man-made weapons to deal the final blow. This skull also made me switch weapons with the AI that was following me around. This was the first time I ever checked with the ODSTs to see what they had on them. And when they had a shotgun or a DMR, it felt awesome when I grabbed it. Hey kid, give me that. Let me show you how a pro does it. Ah, my finger slipped. Another way this skull changed the game, it turned it into an extraction shooter. Where I would previously just waltz through to progress the mission, now whenever I saw anything man-made, I clasped my hands in prayer that there was a DMR or a Magnum somewhere in there. And that's just 2 skulls. Imagine how much the other ones would completely overhaul my experience. So what was the key? What was it that instantly made Halo way more fun? The answer was the skulls, or more specifically, the customizable difficulty. A feature that I realized not many games have. A lot of the time you have less health, the enemies have more health, and then that's it. They're designed to make you replay a game, but not to enhance your enjoyment of it. I don't think it was a coincidence that I hit the perfect balance on my first try. Before I turned these 2 skulls on, I sat there and carefully considered how it was changing the experience. Unlike the generic difficulty settings that most games have, they barely describe what's going on, if at all. The descriptions of these skulls are so clearly conveyed that the end user can simulate how it's going to change the game before they hear the start tones. This way, even if you can't get exactly what you want, you're never disappointed. You know exactly what your campaign is going to look like, and it tests your ability to utilize the game's mechanics by turning the game on its head. Whereas with the inevitable hardest difficulty, all it realistically does is stretch the playtime of the game. You're not required to master anything. Most of the time, you just keep trying until things go your way. And what do you really earn from that scenario? You're playing the game the same way. You aren't developing any skills related to the game. You aren't discovering any new mechanics that you didn't find the first time around. Actually, a lot of the time, it helps you find cheese, ways to exploit the game that the developers didn't think of. I beat the hardest difficulty in Wolfenstein: The New Order when I was 14. You want to know how I did it? There's a skill with the pistol where so long as you get a headshot, everything dies in one hit. It's pretty easy to headshot enemies who don't know you're there. This is a case where a game taught me to abuse something instead of mastering everything else. I did that the entire game. I didn't even break a sweat. In fact, it was actually boring. Another one that really disappointed me was Stellar Blade. I know, Gooner game, you know, half naked lady aside, so I can fuck the other one. I absolutely love this game. It's one of my most favorite Souls-likes I've ever played. The combat is phenomenal. What's not great is the hard mode. No changes to the enemies or bosses or anything really. They get more health and more shields, which is basically just a slightly different second health bar. I had to play a heavy risk reward build where I did more damage so long as I didn't take any. And that's cool and all, but even with that, the enemies were too spongy and took way too long to defeat. Playing this game on hard made me notice all the holes in the combat system instead of expanding the depth on it like it did with Halo. As a matter of fact, there's only one other game that has a custom difficulty that I really enjoy, and surprisingly, it's a horror game. This is Phasmophobia, a game where you are a paranormal investigator given the task of heading into a haunted house, then using your evidence and detective skills to figure out what kind of ghost is present. You're able to talk to and directly interact with these ghosts, and I'm not talking about dialogue trees. I mean you talk directly into your microphone, and the ghost can somehow not only understand what you said, but respond accordingly. Hide and seek? Oh. Shit. Am I the one hiding? Oh, fuck. And as interesting as the attention to detail in this game is, the most interesting part about it is there's no official difficulty. Let me show you what I mean. There are difficulty presets like amateur, intermediate, professional, and then you get the scarier ones, nightmare and insanity. They each have their own score multiplier, which awards you more money. But you'll notice here, we have 3 custom difficulties. The other modes are just suggestions. These are how the devs want you to play. You can make the ghost interact with you more often at the cost of lowering your score. You can make the ghost run faster and attack as soon as you walk through the door for a huge bonus payout if you manage to survive and correctly guess the ghost. And if you don't know where to start, the game has weekly challenges where the developers create a fun, unique difficulty setting to get you warmed up and give you inspiration. There is a challenge where if you turn the multiplier as high as it could possibly go and play on the insane asylum and somehow win, basically you collect undeniable proof that ghosts exist. You get a special trophy to show off in your lobby. Very few people have this trophy, and I am not one of them. This shit is hard. If you've been watching my channel for a while, you know that I fucking love horror movies and especially horror games. I can confidently say that Phasmophobia is one of the best games I have ever played in my entire life. I have never played a horror game that is this scary with this much depth to its gameplay. A lot of horror games are just you running away and hiding from something. The fact that the ghosts in this game force you to confront them and find out what they are, the fact that they all have randomly generated lore, I can ask how they died, how many people they've killed, if they like my outfit, if they could win a fight against Ice Cube. Getting to know the thing that will spontaneously turn around and fucking kill you makes it so much scarier. I haven't even gotten into the pro strategies that exist for this game. There are people who are so cracked at this game, they can confidently know what ghost it is just by listening to its footsteps. This game is the fucking Mariana Trench, bro. It's so deep, and it's thanks to these custom difficulty settings, it makes multiplayer lobbies so fun. I'll join a lobby and intentionally not check the custom settings because I want the ghost to catch me off guard. And here's some food for thought. These are built-in accessibility settings, if you think about it. Every game tries to implement all these different settings so more people can comfortably play the game, but Phasmo is the one game where I can see everyone being able to play it. You have control over so many variables that you could create a gameplay experience compatible with every disability. So for all you game developers out there who are looking at this and saying, oh, that's too much work, this is a guaranteed way to get all of those horrible, terrible game journalists to raise the score of your game. And speaking of AAA games, every game touts your decisions actually matter. No playthrough will be the same as anyone else's. But Phasmo and Halo are the only cases where I found that to be true. Ironically, it's not in these massive RPG on-rails experiences that the industry is pumping out every week, but it's the funny ghost hunting game and the last good game Bungie ever made. Yeah, I'm a fucking Destiny hater. Grow up. Oh great, my watch is actually working at the very end of the video. Of course. Never in a million years did I think playing Halo would enlighten me to the magic of custom difficulty settings. Scratch that. Never in a million years did I think playing Super Mario Sunshine would coax me into my next video game obsession. But here we are. Feel free to drop in the comments other games with custom difficulty settings. The new Doom game is a good example of that. Another favorite of mine is Ark, but my last video was about Ark, so I didn't want to spend another 10 minutes talking about that game. Go watch that video. I promise it's equally as fascinating as this one. That being said, it's time for an ad.
Now in the cult of noodles. If you buy a membership for $1 and up, we'll buy all those Fortnite kids Halo, and we'll turn them into super soldiers. Here's all the kids who died during the gene editing. Hello, little come princess. Please subscribe.